NBA 2K20 fails yet again with patch 8. These are the patch notes that we have, and you can fit it in a tiny little card on your screen. It says improved performance for PS4 Pro users. Who in their right mind cares about performance for a system that's already way more ahead? Like, you got the PS4 Pro, you paid more money for it, you're going to tell us you improving performance for PS4 Pro users? Why wasn't that set in stone from the very beginning? Imagine purchasing a PS4 Pro and you're playing just like anybody else in a regular PS4. So, improving the performance for PS4 Pro users makes no sense to me. Improvements to the My Player Nation feature in my career. Now, who cares about the My Player Nation? Is there anybody that I know that's grinding My Player Nation? I see no content about My Player Nation. I don't think anybody is really that interested. The only reason why we're playing it is because the game is so broken, so you might as well consider playing a different mode like My Player Nation. And they have the nerve in their arrogance to say help lead your team to the title. Now, I got it fixed in my mind that they use these patch notes to actually advertise anything else that they got going on that's new in the game. So they have the nerve to put inside the patch notes. Mind you, the patch notes are super tiny. We've never had patch notes this small. We've always had patch notes where we had to scroll down and continue reading, even though they barely elaborated on those notes as well. But we've always had patch notes that you had to scroll down on. Unfortunately, in these patch notes, they take the very little bit amount of space that you have in the patch notes, and they have the nerve to put something like help lead your team to the title with an exclamation point, as if somebody's supposed to get excited about My Player Nation. Anyway, neither here nor there. They go on to say, fixed an issue that would sometimes prevent users from joining their friends in the neighborhood, and or would sometimes load the invited friend into the wrong location. Now, you're telling me this has been an issue since the very beginning of the game. The very first day you've had trouble joining your friends and playing with your friends in a community-based type of game. But 8 patches later and something like 80 to 100 gigs later, we still have the same problems of being unable to join your friends. Now, I tried to tell y'all in a video, which you should see up top right now, if you don't got the Hall of Fame Join Your Friends badge, you are never going to be able to consistently join your friends. Go check out that video. Trust me, you'll be able to join your friends a lot quicker. He goes on to say, they go on to say in their patch notes, many more fixes. This seems to be a new language of theirs to kind of summarize and close up these very minimal patch notes, which makes no sense to me. They put many and then many again. Many more fixes. As if just saying many more fixes included to improve the overall experience of NBA 2K20 wouldn't be enough. They had to put many more fixes. Now, I had a homie hit me up in our Discord. If you're not familiar with our Discord, go check it out. It's in the link. There's a link in the description down below. Go check that out. To put many, what is the other many referring to? That, to me, that's too many's. Now, that I know that doesn't make sense to a lot of you guys, but why, with something that goes public like this representing your game, and it's going to be widespread, why would you continue to put many more fixes? You kind of just feel like you're being manipulated into believing that 2K really put an effort into these patches. Now, I don't know how they keep dishing out 20+ gig patches and we barely see a difference aside from our heightened level of frustration, and it's turning to somewhat of a hate for the game. I got homies out there breaking controllers that they're so frustrated with the gameplay for NBA 2K20 and all its inconsistencies. One thing that's certain about 2K20, if you could define it in one word, I would like to know what you guys would think, but if I could define NBA 2K20 in one word from its release date up until now, is inconsistent. The level of inconsistency within NBA 2K20. If you're a rebounder, you can't get a board. If you're a rim protector, you can't get a block. If you're a shooter, you're shooting hella inconsistent. I mean, one game you might green, the next 10 games you're bricking. And if you're a slasher, you're out there struggling because all of a sudden you can't dunk the rock. You're unable to get to the rack consistently. So, in one word, NBA 2K20 is inconsistent, and releasing these type of patch notes for the community that still got your back despite you giving us this very bootleg type of game. And I don't, this is just for maybe for monetization purposes. I don't want to really go in on 2K and how I feel about 2K20, and I try and stay optimistic because it's been a good year for us here on YouTube. I really appreciate you guys supporting, everybody who's watching, mashing that sub button, hitting them like button. You know, I really appreciate that. It goes a long way for me. But unfortunately, it has to take place in a year where, you know, NBA 2K20 is turning out to be one of the worst releases in 2K history, in my personal opinion. If you guys feel differently, please let me know in the comment section below. But it's really turned out to be a bad year. It's almost unenjoyable when you're out there in the park. I recommend, if you're trying to find enjoyment in NBA 2K20, if you're trying to find some level of enjoyment, create a new player, build him up. You'll have more fun playing my career, creating that player and building up, getting his badges, although we know it's a grind that nobody really wants to get into. But if you don't grind your player out and you bring him out to the park, you're not going to be able to compete out there. So grind the new player out. If you're struggling with shooting, don't create another shooting build. Try an inside build. Try a slashing build or something like that. Something that'll help build your enjoyment for NBA 2K20 until maybe one day they'll be able to fix the game. Sometime during this cycle, maybe they'll be able to fix it. Who knows? But as of right now, I highly doubt patch 8 is going to have a sustainable effect on the outlook of how people approach NBA 2K20, especially when you release patch notes like this. If they released more sincere and they elaborated more on, you know, what these patch notes entailed, as opposed to just putting many more fixes. If they elaborated more on it, maybe the 2K20 community, as forgiving as we are, we would consider embracing their project, this game of theirs, because I feel like it's a project. I feel like they just kind of, you know, they just really just kind of wing it and send something out. And I feel like we're projects out here half the time. If you're in any of my live streams, you could catch me on Twitch. If you're in any of my live streams, half the time I feel like they have like some sort of sensors in your controller. It feels like whenever you get excited or happy in the game, like maybe you have a good game, as soon as you reach that, as soon as that fun meter fills out per se, that's it. The sliders go down for you. I feel like my player is like a 99. He has a 99 speed, 99 acceleration, and I feel like since I hit 99 speed and 99 acceleration, they dropped they dropped my speed and acceleration. So and that goes for every aspect of your particular build type. If you have a 99 block, then it feels like when you get up there, they give you less blocks as if they lowering your sliders. I can't help but feel like they're forcing us into a microtransaction when your stats or your numbers speak one thing, but your gameplay shows quite a different thing. And I think that's what everybody has been frustrated about in NBA 2K20. I think it's time for them to kind of no holds barred, just let us go out there and have fun. I think they kind of need to redevelop their approach, and they kind of need to just, you know, determine what they want to find more important. Do they want to just really consider, you know, the money aspect of things and gaining those microtransactions? Because I don't understand why they can't see an enjoyable game leads to microtransactions. I don't know what. I think previous versions of NBA 2K kind of led them to this point where they can kind of lower your sliders and force you into creating a new build. And the 2K community, although we kind of embrace NBA 2K in a way, we we're not dumb, man. We're not. That's hard-earned money coming out of our pockets. You feel me? It's not like we're dumb and we don't know any better. We know better. We just want to kind of get better at the game. But when this thing becomes repetitive and we experience the same thing year in and year out, I think it just hit fan for NBA 2K20. And it seems like NBA 2K20 is getting more arrogant in their approach because they released these type of patch notes, even though the NBA 2K community is begging for elaboration on these patch notes. Let us know what's going on. Let us know what's really being fixed. Why would you not elaborate on what's being fixed, but you would elaborate on, you know, the My Player Nation feature? You would elaborate on that and say something like help lead your team to the title. Why can't you elaborate on what you're actually doing? What we're downloading into our system? What are we putting into our system? Why can't you elaborate on that? Why can't you elaborate on the experience that we could look forward to in the next coming weeks after patch 8? Well, guys, again, these are just some of my thoughts on patch 8. I believe patch 8 is a failure. I think the 2K community is practically done with NBA 2K20. Almost every single person that I play with is struggling on NBA 2K20. They're struggling not only with their player, but they're struggling to actually enjoy the game. And when that's the case, when you have your player base struggling to find enjoyment in your game, then you're close to the end. And I think NBA 2K20 is close to the end. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider subscribing to our channel, as we're gonna have a ton of NBA 2K20 content coming your way. And if you want to stay connected with me and the All City Live TV community, then join us on Twitch and Discord. The links will be in the description below. Easy, y'all.